Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'll show you how to enable remote access in SQL Server. We'll configure SQL Server to accept connections from another computer, open the right firewall ports, and make sure your SQL instance is reachable over the network. Whether you're setting up a development server or connecting to SQL Server from a remote client, this guide will walk you through everything clearly and safely. Let's get started. Now, open SQL Server Management Studio, and from the login window, connect to your SQL Server instance. Next, in SQL Server Management Studio, right-click on Databases and select New Database to create a new one. In the New Database window, type your desired database name, for example, TestDB. Then click OK to create the database. Next, right-click your server name in the Object Explorer, then select Properties. Now, go to the Security page. Under Server Authentication, select SQL Server and Windows Authentication Mode. Then, head over to the Connections page, make sure to check the option Allow Remote Connections to this server, and then click OK to save the changes. Now, expand the Security folder on your server, then, right-click on Logins and choose New Login to create a new user. In the window that appears, type a username, for example, test user, then, under Authentication, choose SQL Server Authentication, and set a secure password for your new SQL user. Don't forget to uncheck the option User must change password at next login. Then, set the default database to the one you just created. Next, go to the User Mapping section and select your database. Under Database Role Membership, check DB_DataWriter, DB_DataReader, and DB_Owner, then click OK to save your changes. On the left panel, expand your newly created database, then expand Security. Then, expand Users and double-click the user you just created. On the Membership page, verify that the user has at least the DB_DataReader and DB_DataWriter roles selected. Once confirmed, click OK to save and apply the changes. Next, launch SQL Server Configuration Manager to configure network protocols. In SQL Server Configuration Manager, expand SQL Server Network Configuration and click on Protocols for YourInstanceName. Right-click TCP/IP and select Enable. When prompted to restart the service, click OK to apply the changes. Right-click TCP/IP again and choose Properties to open the TCP/IP settings window. Go to the IP Addresses tab and scroll down to IP All, enter 1433 in the TCP port field, click OK, and when prompted, confirm the service restart to apply the changes. Go back to the SQL Server Services section, right-click your server name and select Restart to apply all the changes you made. Next, open PowerShell as administrator. In the PowerShell window, type New-NetFirewallRule-DisplayName SQL Server TCP 1433-direction inbound-protocol TCP-LocalPort 1433-action allow-service MSSQL Server-profile any and press Enter. Make sure to replace MSSQL Server with your actual SQL Server instance name if it's different. For a named instance, use the service name with the $SQL prefix followed by your instance name, for example, MSSQL$dev. Next, launch Windows Defender Firewall with Advanced Security. Click on Inbound Rules in the left panel to check that your SQL Server Firewall rule has been created successfully. Go back to PowerShell, type ipconfig, and press Enter. This will display your computer's IP address, which you'll use to connect from another machine. Now, on another computer connected to the same LAN, open SQL Server Management Studio and use the IP address you just found to connect to your SQL Server remotely. In the Connect to Server window, enter the IP address for a default instance, or the IP address followed by a / and the instance name for a named instance. Next, change the authentication method to SQL Server Authentication, then enter the username and password you set up earlier. Make sure to check the Trust Server Certificate option, then click Connect to establish a remote connection to your SQL Server. And that's it. You've successfully enabled remote access to your SQL Server. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tutorials. See you in the next video.